What's going on, guys? And welcome back to another episode of Stereotherapy. I'm your host, Lisa,
And I'm Justine.
and this is the show that showcases the importance of music and mental health. Remember, guys, if you are enjoying the show a little bit, a positive rating or review would mean a lot to us. You can do that on any app you're listening to this right now. We'll have all links below in the description to check this out. We appreciate anyone that's already taken the time to leave us a review. We appreciate you guys so much. So today is going to Justine and I are going to act as if we were going to when we were young and something we would love to attend. And there are so many records that we would love to see. So we're just going to share ours. And you know what? We would love to hear the ones if you were going, if you want to go. And this isn't going to be a show where we review them because, like I said, Emo Social Club does it. Go watch theirs. Go watch anybody else on YouTube that does it. We're just going to have fun with it and pretend we're going because we're not. And before we get into all that, again, we want to thank everyone that's been listening each week with each guest we have but it's been such a long time since Justine and I just got on there with just the two of us. And this is just going to be really fun for us because, again, like we love our guests and it's been so great. But sometimes it's just good to talk about music we love. So I'm so excited. And before we get into our records, Justine, how are you doing? It's been a hot minute.
I'm doing okay. the, the temperature back and forth here is just been, just completely like wrecking my body. So I've been going like back and forth between just like really bad flare ups and whatnot. So I've just been kind of on the struggle bus, but I did just get my hair all chopped off
Which
and
it looks so good. I know in the
like
beginning what you said, but like the more I look at it, I'm like, I fucking love it. It's so
and
great.
yeah, like I wasn't sure if I liked it or not because like it didn't look like what I had showed the hairstylist
Hmm.
like whatsoever. But the more I'm playing with it, like it'll get somewhere where I like it a little more. But it's been very well received. Everybody that saw it on TikTok and like on my social media has just said nothing but how much they love it. So, it could be worse.
I was
So,
so glad to see that a lot of people had it because, again, like at the first picture you showed me, like I totally get it. And I've been there. I think anyone's been there, right? With a haircut. But like when I saw you like touch it up or do whatever you did to it, I was like, oh my God, it looks amazing. Like it looks so good. It makes your eyes pop and everything. And it's just making me want to cut mine short again. I'm like, I need to like do the chop and have that in. I agree with you with the weather. Like the weather's been up and down. I had a horrible migraine yesterday. Like it just is, it always is with me. And I think if you get it, you get it. Because some people don't get that about the weather. Like my
I
fiance,
know.
he
Well,
doesn't understand. He thinks I'm joking. I'm like, no, dude, like the
no,
weather fucking
it's a
sucks.
legit thing I saw on TikTok. Somebody else that has a lot of conditions that like both me and Lisa struggle with, and it's has to do with the barometric pressure. So
Hmm.
whenever the weather changes and the pressure changes, you can actually read it like on like a certain kind of like thermometer and scale kind of thing, and you can actually then visually see it change and then you would know. But like, so it's an actual legit thing. Like the pressure changes and that affects people who have things like migraines or chronic pain or any kind of like chronic illness. Like it does actually affect it, and it sucks because
Oh,
this
oh.
this Midwest weather has been so awful the last like month, and I have just been going through absolute hell, and it's just been like, when is it going to just stick to something and I can like somewhat be normal again, because I have just been struggling and just been feeling like I can't do anything right now and it sucks.
No, I feel you. And like that, even not even just the weather, but like me recently, and I've been open about it, like my PCOS diagnosis. And like the past 6 months have been so shitty. And now is the first month that I feel normal. And of course, then the weather kicks up, but like I feel normal. So it's like, shout out to anyone else that has it or like loves someone that has PCOS because it fucking sucks. I'm finally noticing, like, I took a picture yesterday and I was like, oh my God, my old face is back. Like, people, if you know what I'm talking about if you deal with that. And it just is like, so that's what I've been struggling with, but I'm better. So I'm getting better. And again, it's all because every guest we've had recently, the conversations you're going to hear, they talk about exercise 1,000%. It helps. It helps stuff like that. So that's my like health pep talk, female hormones stuff. But men are going to love that. But anyways,
My
so
gosh.
yeah. So but I just want to share what's been going on. But a lot of cool stuff. We have so many great conversations. We're gonna have two this week. So we're gonna have this one. If you're listening to this, this is Tuesday. We're gonna have another one on Thursday because I want to get all this stuff out. I don't want to out ever have these conversations outdated, and I'm afraid that's gonna happen. So, and we have a lot of cool conversations coming up, which we're really excited. But today, again, I'm so excited because we're gonna act as if we're going to When We Were Young. Justine and I don't have tickets yet, but who knows? It's in
We
October.
would love to go.
We would love to go. So let us know, somehow make it happen, or let us know how we can do this. But so we're gonna pretend like Justine, we just pull up in Vegas. We pull up in Vegas, first day. And I think the thing about When We Were Young is they do set times beforehand. It's not like Warp Tour, which is pretty cool. So you can plan your day better. But like
Yeah,
for
I was gonna
you,
say that's way better
oh
than
my
how
God.
Warped Tour was.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like yeah. So it's like, I think that aspect is cool. There's a lot of parts that I've heard from other people that aren't cool. I'm not going to bash the fest. I've never attended. But for me, we're pulling up. We're just going to pick the records that we would see that day. So Justine, for you, I have to know what's your record?
I mean, of course, I would have to see My Chemical Romance.
Yes. Oh my,
Like
I
why
forgot.
wouldn't
And
I? Like, of course. Everybody who knows me knows they're one of my favorites, but like I think I would have to say it's so important to see them
mhm.
as many chances as you can get. Like,
Yeah.
especially like, they were gone for 10 years and then they got back together. And who knows, if we're going to get another record, when that'll be, or when you'll get to see them live again. So just see them as many times as you can while you can. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, no, the only thing I will say about my cab is I wish it was a 20-year Three Cheers instead of Black Parade. I think we've seen Black Parade so many times. I understand with the generation below me, the Black Parade is everything and anything to them. But I would really love to see Three Cheers 20 years. But like, oh, there you go, guys. That's what you call your tour if you're listening. But like, I just think that I agree with you that that's a band, and that's what I kind of tried to pick. But then I also like, I don't know. I just went like, hey, I know this band's really, really good because you don't know, and I'm not being rude, but like some bands that haven't been together for a while, like we don't
yeah.
know. So I just feel like, and they're one thing I'm noticing with When We Were Young is you really have to pick and choose. And that's what Matt Batiste was saying to us, right? Like you have to make decisions when you go to something like that. I
Yeah.
agree with you. You have a band like My Chem. We don't know how long or after this cycle what they're going to do because Ellis Dunes is gearing back up, which is exciting. But like that means Frank isn't, there's not going to be a
Yeah.
touring schedule. So I'm with you. And I guess a record I would see, because again, they say record. I don't know. I'm still so skeptical that they're going to be records because some of these are so long. I don't know, especially Coheed, like, no way they're playing that whole maybe they are, maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be like a medley of songs. I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to go and find out. But for me, I have to see Bayside play Bayside, their self-titled record, because again, I know I have seen this band so many times, but I just feel they never miss. And I feel like, again, like I was saying at this fest, you really have to pick ones either you really, really love or you haven't seen or you want some nostalgic feeling. But I just feel like no matter how the sound is that day, because some people complain about stages and hearing stuff. I just I just love this record so much. And I think the only reason I maybe wouldn't is if it was up against something like a record I'll talk about later that like I again, it's a Mike Kemp situation where I don't know when
Yeah.
I'd see them, but I would absolutely see this one because again, my favorites, oh God, I could just list them all, but Blame It on Bad Luck, Don't Call Me Peanut, We'll Be Okay. But I just feel like hearing this whole damn record for me, if they do play it all, I just love them so much. And I feel like, again, they never miss, and I would get every ounce of my money out of that ticket seeing them in part of the bands I see. But I gotta know Justine. They're like, I know we have we have at least, I think, 10, or
Yeah,
I don't even know. So for you, who's
we
like,
also have a few of the same because I also pick
yes,
Bayside to see
yes,
because that's my favorite Bayside album.
yes,
So I wouldn't want to miss that. It's my favorite
no,
album of theirs. It's like, you know what I mean? I've only seen them I think like maybe once, maybe twice. So the fact that this would be my favorite album, I would want to be able to try and see that.
yeah, no, right. And that's another thing. Like, what's your favorite, right? Because if you have a favorite record and it's like that is,
Yeah.
you're gonna see that no matter how many times, or even if you haven't, you're gonna see that because you're like, this is my favorite record. And I think
That's
that,
one reason why I feel like if it is actually like by album, I think that is a wise choice to go with rather than like a combination of, their works because when it goes by like album, you're gonna know what you're getting. You're
right,
gonna know exactly what you're gonna be going to hear. Whereas sometimes, like if you finally get to see a band and you're more familiar with their old works as opposed to like what they're newly putting out there, like eh, you'll know what you're going for. And so because sometimes if it's a band that's like trying to pump out their new album, they're not going to play as much as their old stuff. So that's kind of
right.
why I like this idea of doing albums, just because then you know what you're going to be able to hear them play.
Yeah. Like for me, another one like I would see, and again, it kind of goes like what you were just saying, is Thursday Full Collapse, because I know I am coming off of just seeing Thursday, talking about Thursday, but Full Collapse means the absolute just world to me in so many ways. It was the start of my post-hardcore obsession. And I think, even though I think I've seen this record play, I think they did a cycle of this, or maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe it's War All the Time I'm thinking of. But either way, like I've seen these songs played. I feel like even if you're new to the scene or you're just wanting to check out Thursday, I feel like this is one you cannot miss. And I think Thursday is just so special. And just like you were saying too, like Full Collapse is one of my top whatever, I don't even know number records. So why would I miss that? And I know I'm going to get an amazing show out of Thursday. So I'm going Full Collapse, 1,000%. I love them so much. And again, maybe it's just because I'm just coming down on the high from seeing them, but I would absolutely go see Thursday.
Well, yeah, I mean, even though you just saw them, like anybody that knows you knows how you feel about Thursday. So
Oh
like
my God.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I let the world know,
Whether you
guys.
just saw them or not, I mean, it
Uh,
makes sense for you to want to go see them.
right. And
But
it's oh, for you, I gotta know you.
some people might want to make fun of this one,
Oh
but
gosh.
I would want to go see Simple Plan. Laugh at me if you want. They are so fun live.
No, they are. They
Like
are.
they put on such a great show, and just what's more fun than being in a group of adults who are singing about how much they hate being a kid?
Mm-hmm.
It's great. They have such great energy live because I have seen them live. I saw them live at my first Warp Tour,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went to the anniversary show for this album, and it's fun. They're great. They still have great energy, you know, to this day. I would highly suggest if you need to like if it happens to be a band like while you're waiting you don't have anybody else to see
Right.
or if you just you know or if you've just never seen them and you want to, I highly suggest you go see them because they're a lot of fun.
No, they are. And that reminds me, I think one of my first early Warp Tours was Simple Plan. And I remember I have a picture somewhere with them, and I was just so excited. I was like, oh my God, Simple Plan. And I wouldn't have picked them, but I think it would be one of those decisions where I was like, oh my God, I'm hearing, oh gosh, I can't even think what song's on that record. Is it I'm Just a Kid? Would that be
Yeah.
one? So like if I heard that, I would literally drop everything and like, oh my God, I gotta go see this. So I think like I don't know, as much as we have this list, I think if I heard something playing, like, say, I was getting food or whatever I was doing,
Yeah.
I would probably absolutely go see Simple Plan, and I think a lot more people would go see them than they would admit. Like, I think you're
Yeah,
not
no,
alone in that.
it's one of those guilt pleasures. It's like, they're still fun, like,
They are, and they're always a good time, no matter
don't
when.
say that they're total like they're not terrible. They're a fun
No.
band. They are fun, and I don't care what anybody says. But I'm also one of those people, I don't really get ashamed by bands. I just know bands that people will be like, "Oh, really?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I don't
Oh,
care."
1,000%. No, there's bands I know, like, even when we did the Good Charlotte episode, I know there are
Yeah.
people and that was one of our most listened to ones, so they can, like, whatever, I don't care. I love Good Charlotte, and yeah, anyways, I wish they were at this one because I know they went last
Oh,
year,
I
but
know.
that
Yeah.
would be one. But for me, I gotta go, and this is no surprise to anyone again that knows me, I guess, but Jimmy Eat World, Bleed American, again, it just is the fact that I've seen them, but I just know that they're so important in my life, and they just kill it every single time I've seen them, and if I'm gonna sit in that hot Vegas heat, sing my heart out, it's gotta be with bands that, 1, have the energy or just are so good. Again, like we were talking about, like, I don't know if it's gonna be a medley or whatever it is, but for me, if I get this whole record, I'm gonna be so excited because Bleed American was like, I know everyone talks about Clarity, but for me, Bleed American was my introduction to Jimmy Eat World, and I just think it's such an iconic record, and to me, it's just so important in my musical journey in life, and it's been, like, a hot minute since I've seen Jimmy Eat World. I can't tell you the last time I did, and I think I don't know, I truly think that maybe also some of these younger kids who wouldn't go see them, so maybe I'd be able to creep up closer.
I was gonna say, you might have a
So
good chance to sneak
so
up there.
right? I'm thinking
Yeah.
people, if they saw them up against, I don't know, like, who they would be, they might not, so I'll get to enjoy it, but again, like, if you've never heard this record, for me, I mean, if I get to hear You Me, The Middle, and I know what everybody says about The Middle, it is the most
I don't
popular,
care what
it is the
anybody
whatever.
says.
I fucking
It's
love
like an
that song.
anthem.
It is an
Yeah.
anthem, and no matter how older I grow, it becomes more and more of that anthem. If I hear that, I'm just gonna be ecstatic, I don't care, and I mean, also the sweetness because could I don't know, I can just imagine that crowd singing it back, and If You Don't, Don't, that song too, but I mean, just I just would be it would be so fun to see them again, and again, maybe I'll get a great spot because the younger kids will be like, "Who's Jimmy Eat World?" Although they toured with Fall Out Boy, so maybe, I don't know, we'll see, but, uh, Justine, what's your other record you would go see?
So, I would have to go see the Distillers, of
Yes.
course. This band just meant so much to me in high school, and they're so good live.
Mhm.
Like, Brody is amazing live. I wouldn't wanna miss them, and this album I don't think is the most popular album out of their discography with people, but
Mhm.
I remember when it was coming out, like, I was paying attention to when it was coming out because I wanted to make sure I got it. And, like, I talked about how I and then in a previous episode, I can't remember which episode it was that we talked
Yeah.
about, but I remember going to get the album, and I had to get it from Walmart, and it was the censored cover. Like, because, Walmart has this thing against, like, certain artworks. So you would have to have like a edited version of an album cover. So I had to get the edited version of the album cover, but yet the CD still had the original artwork on it. So like I don't understand like the difference there. But yeah, this band and that album, it just has a special place in my heart. So I wouldn't want to miss that. And I would suggest anybody else who hasn't heard of of the Distillers or just really needs a good, like, raw girl fronted band to check them out because I think that this would be, like, mind blowing for you.
Oh, and it's funny, like, that was on my list too, of course, because and it just is I agree with you because I don't know, again, like we were already saying in this episode that I don't know when we would see them again or how many
Mhm.
chances you're gonna get because, like I said, I saw Brody solo back in 2014. And although I loved it and she was phenomenal and amazing, it wasn't the Distillers. So, like, I didn't get
Yeah.
that Distillers fix. And honestly, I think people would be so blown away, like, just to see that. And I know there was talk about how there's wasn't that many female representation on this bill, and I think to have someone like Brody, like, if you're
Yeah.
younger, like, even us, but, like, I remember when I was younger and I discovered the Distillers, I was like, "Holy shit." So, like, I can only imagine some of these
It's a big
people that
deal. Yeah.
have not been exposed to be exposed. I just that would be I don't care who they would be up against, even any of the records I just mentioned. I would see the Distillers because I
Yeah.
don't know when we would and how many chances and again, maybe a lot of people wouldn't know them, and I would get to get a front row spot or something, and it'd be amazing, but I just think too, I've heard the setup is, like, just like Six Flag World was, where it's kind of a shitty setup, and it's hard to get through regardless, and maybe someone that's been is listening to this like, "Oh, you have no idea, you couldn't get up." But whatever, I think this band is so important, and again, if you've never heard of them, you gotta check out, like, Dismantle Me, Coral Fane, Drain the Blood, Beat Your Heart Out, literally just anything because I again, like you said, like, this record maybe wasn't the most popular with people. I loved this one. This one for
Yeah,
me
me too.
is my favorite, and I think you were the one that pointed out, like you were just saying about the album cover, because even when we
Yeah.
recorded that episode, I forget what the heck it was. When we recorded that episode, I literally was like, I had to go back. And anytime I posted that
Yeah.
album cover, I'm like, no wonder many people didn't talk about this with me because they probably were like, holy shit, what's this album cover that I'm posting that's like so scandalous? I had
It's
no
such
idea.
a good album
It
art, like
is.
and then the one that I got ripped off with is so terrible.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
God, what
Like,
episode?
oh,
Maybe that was the 20-year ones we did. I have to go back.
I
I'll
think
link
you know
that.
what? I think that is. I think it was a 20-year
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
So if you are enjoying this little snippet, I'll link that one because, like, you'll listen. We go in more detail. But one that I would also see that's very different than the Distillers, and I know not a favorite of yours, Justine, but I feel like if I didn't pick this, people would be like, okay, Lisa, like, what did you talk about in the Newfound Glory episode? But I'm going with Newfound Glory, Sticks and Stones. Again, people are gonna be like, "Of course," but I can't miss them anytime, anywhere they play, just like in our episode we did a few weeks back when I brought on my longtime friend Jason, because I just feel like their live shows are just everything to me, and this record is what made me obsessed with pop punk and them. And, like, when they hit Understatement, the crowd is gonna go nuts. Whether you are a new fan, old fan, this is gonna be a set to watch if you love that pop punk or if you like them. And even if you're not a fan and you're stuck sandwiched in that crowd, I think it would still be really fun. But I think just I can't miss him. I can't. I've seen him so many times. The only way, again, I would miss him is if they were up against the Distillers. I would, but other than that, I'm seeing this band. I love them so much, and I would just be so happy for that 30 minutes or whatever it is, 40 minutes. But obviously, it's something I call personality. It's been a summer. Forget my name. Just check out the track list. It's so good. And even if you don't like them,
I don't think you'd be the only person that would be rushing to see Newfound Glory at this because I feel
yeah.
like they're probably one of the bigger crowd,
Yeah.
drawers at this.
But
So,
you'd be shocked though. There were a lot of people I've overheard, not overheard, like on the internet. I don't over, but like there were a lot of people that I heard be like, I don't know. And again, I
mm,
get it, but I think that it's just because anyone's reviews and stuff, like they'll, oh, I didn't really like them, but they're just
interesting.
they're so
But
damn
I also think
good.
it would probably depend on, like, if you're getting a lot of millennial people at this,
Right.
uh, then it's probably gonna be a big crowd. But,
Yeah.
because, like, thinking of back in the day, like, that's what it was. Like, you were in a New Found Glory or you were into Blink-182, and
And
I was a Blink girl, so, like, that's
yeah.
kind of, how it was. But, like, Newfound Glory back in the day, like, that was a big they were a big deal back then, so
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like it probably would be depending on the generational crowd or
Mhm.
not, but, like, if there's a lot of millennial people, I think there'd be a big crowd for them.
Yeah, come on, guys, gotta show up for them. I would, and also, like, but then, then I would also have to think too, like, I am seeing them on their 20-year tour this summer, so I guess I would have to weigh, like, "Oh, what's going on?" Like, right then, but somehow I would find a way, I would see them, but, Justine, I gotta hear, what's another I'm wondering how many other similar ones we have and not. What's your next one?
Well, I know this next one you would not want to go to.
Oh god, what is it gonna be?
So the next one I would have to go see is Chiodos. Would I would
I'll
have to go
explain
see
later,
them.
guys. I'm gonna let Justine have
Yeah,
her moment, and I will
it's
explain.
okay. But, like, I would have to go see them. I got to
Yeah.
see them quite a few times back in the day.
Mhm.
All's Well That Ends Well is their best album.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like, if you are really trying to get into the nostalgia of how that time era was, then I would say you have to go see Chiodos because, like, if I'm thinking of how it was back in the day, in the prime of, like, the emo lifestyle,
Mhm.
all that, going to see Chiodos at a very small venue, at least for me, it was Pops,
Yes.
which if anybody
Yes, I know
is
that
around St.
venue.
Louis, if you know
Mhm.
Pops, it's a really small venue, but it's also kinda gross,
Yeah.
but, like, like, that's the kind of thing I think of, and I think of Cheetos because I did get to go see them at Pops, I think maybe once or twice, and also at, like, a couple festivals, but, like, I would wanna go for that, and like I said, that's their best album if you ask me, I think most people would agree on that.
Yeah, I think so too. Even they
Yeah.
love Bone Palace Ballet, but that no. And
It's
I'm
not as much of an effect as
no.
All's Well That Ends Well, so
Like so it's funny because I just wanna be clear to everybody. I haven't really talked about this. So, I agree with you though because I was very lucky, and, I touched on this when we talked to Matt Batiste about I was very lucky being in Illinois that when Chiodos being from Michigan, they played small basement shows of people I knew. I got to see them in basements. I've seen them in tiny places like the Wheaton Grand Theater in Wheaton, Illinois. If you know, you know. That place is insane, but I think that so my thing with Chiodos, and I'm trying to be careful about what do I say? So, I love that record, okay? And I think I love that record. That record's such an important part of me back in the day, in the scene, everything. I have some personal things with the band Chiodos
Yeah.
that I cannot disclose to people, don't worry. It did
I'm
not
fully aware of
happen.
it, but
Yes,
yeah,
so
it's some stuff that we don't wanna
yeah,
completely talk about
right,
on air.
right, and yeah, and I'm okay, guys. I don't want anyone to think it's me, like,
Yeah, no,
but
it's fine.
it's something that I've known, and I think sometimes when you're in the scene and you get to know people on a personal level, and it can sometimes skew your view, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, for as much as I say this and I have my views on Chiodos, and I just hope there's a lot of growth that has happened since the time I was knowing them because of certain things. I hope there's some growth. That would be fantastic, and I would love to see it. I really also appreciate Craig Owens talking about his bipolar disorder. Honestly, I think that he is very open about his bipolar diagnosis, and I appreciate any artist that does that. And I will say, as much as I have a little thing with Chiodos, personal thing that gets in my way of them, I still am like, "Shit, if I heard some of those tracks and I'm walking by, would I probably stop and get into it? Probably fucking Lee, and that would end my whole thing, I don't know, I don't know. I was obsessed, I loved them, and again, it's one of those things, it sucks when personal shit gets in the way
Yeah,
and you're like, "Ah, I love because I love them and I
and
know
that
you
happens to
do."
so many of us,
Oh my god, yeah, 100%, and it's
so
like, oh, but damn, if you are a fan and you're like Justine or you're even like me, who knows, maybe, I'll break all this years later and like go. But they're so fucking good. They're so
Yeah.
fucking good. And I'm not gonna lie, even though I have some personal things, I fucking love them. I'm not even
It's
gonna lie.
still it's one of those things where it's like there's personal stuff, but like when it comes to a certain time era
Right.
and a
Like,
certain genre,
yeah. Like,
they're
oh,
kind of the quintessential band that sets the theme for that time era for when it comes to the emo scene and the hardcore scene. This would be the band that you would have to see. You
yeah.
couldn't miss them.
No, and I'll say, like, again, seeing them in those small venues, I was so lucky before they really got big, and yeah, there was nothing like it, and I wish that things didn't jade me because I fucking loved that band, and this is probably one we share too, this next one, and it's kinda like I've come around on this record again because for a while, I did get away from the band Say Anything, so I would go see this band Say Anything play Is a Real Boy because I fell back in love with this record immediately when we did those 20-year
Yeah.
episodes because I really fell off, like I was saying, and, like, some reasons, I don't know, I don't feel like talking about, but it's just one of those things that, like I know, there goes me. I feel like I don't and again, I appreciate Max and his
Yeah.
talking about bipolar disorder and so many things, and I love him and adore him, and he's welcome here anytime, but I just think that it's so amazing that this band is back, and
Yeah.
it's just if you're going to this fest and again, you're seeing these bands that are coming back together, and I think if you love this band, you gotta see them. And I know people are gonna say, "Oh, they're on this tour for the same record that would be so much more amazing than a big festival." Yeah, I'm aware, but it's sold out. So, like, if I was going to this and not the fest, like,
Yeah.
now, if I find a ticket to a show here and I don't go to When We Were Young, yeah, I'm gonna go to that. But if I'm not and I'm here and this is my only shot, I'm gonna see this record. From the videos I've seen here and there, they're back. They're better than ever. And I'm really so excited about that. And of course, like you don't need me to tell you any tracks to see. You know, this record is amazing. And when they play, wow, I can get sexual too. And you hear that little phone thing, and it just is gonna be so insane. And I think they're just so good. And I know, Justine, this has to be on your list,
Oh, yeah,
right?
absolutely
Yeah.
it is. Like, I would not want to miss them. This is the album that made us all fall in love with them. It would be such a great show. I've seen them before live. They're great live.
Yeah.
Max is amazing live.
Yes.
I would absolutely recommend you go stop by and go to see them if you're going there, or just in general, go see them if they're on tour near you because, oh, they're so great. They have great energy. uh, I can't say enough. I love this band. I've always loved this band. I I will always love them. So
Yeah, no, they're so good. And again, like I think it'll be so cool, especially to see like now Max seems healthy, he's in a good place too.
yeah,
And I'm all for that. And this is just one of those records, like I said, I fell back in love with, and I just reminded me of like why I loved them back then. And I just think that they're one of those bands that it's gonna pop off when they go on, and you're also gonna be probably surrounded by people that are really as excited as you are,
yeah,
because Say Anything fans are just like that, like, much like some bands we talk about, like, they are really there is no in between, they fucking love them,
yeah,
that's that. There's no, "Oh,
absolutely.
I kinda like them." No, like, anyone I talk to, they're like, "I have to see this band,"
And
and
anybody that I've ever met that's a Say Anything fan, like, sometimes, when it comes to certain bands and certain singers, sometimes their fans are, you know, kinda not fun to be around
yeah,
or to, like,
Tool.
get in discussions with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I won't list all those fans
Yeah, no.
because, like, Lisa knows a lot of them that I complain about a lot, but, um, the Say Anything crowd, I haven't met anybody
Me either.
is a huge Say Anything fan and had them be, like, abrasive or awful or
No.
anything. So, you'll be in a good crowd. I
No.
don't think anybody would be rude or, like, nasty in the crowd to you. So,
No. I don't think so either, I mean
I think it would just be a big crowd, everybody having so much fucking fun.
yeah, that's what right? Like, I just and this next one for me is one I've never heard. I don't know, I haven't heard many people talk about it, and I'm kinda like, "Ah," when I saw this on here, I was so excited, but I would have to, without a doubt, go see the band Basement. perform Color Me in Kindness because I don't even know where I begin with this band. It's a band that I have pushed on anyone I know for so long. And I just hope have either been listening or tried them out because they're just so underappreciated. And if you've never heard of them, stop what you're doing, pause, then come back to this. Go check out Basement because they're so good. And they just remind me of like that grunge sound, but modern, if that makes any sense. I don't know, but I just feel like you can't lump them in any category. They're just such a special band, and I just love them so much. And I guess if you've never heard of them and you're listening to this, you got to check out Whole, COVID, Pine, Bad Apple, just this whole record. It's so good. And I think the reason why I would pick this band over any other bands I think is because I don't know when I'll see Basement again. I fucking don't know. The last time I saw them was in 2014 with Brand New. Um, and whether they toured or not, maybe I didn't know about it for whatever reason. They're just so special, and I think they're so underrated. And what a treat to have them on a festival like this. So if you've never heard of them, you can. But I love them, and I think more people should like Basement. So I don't know. That's my spiel on Basement. Justine, what about you?
I would absolutely have to go see Saves the Day.
Mhm.
Stay What You Are is my favorite album by them, and, like, I didn't truly get to see them back in the day. I did get to see Chris play, like, a couple acoustic songs at Warped Tour one year, but it was at one of those really weird random small stages,
Mhm.
and I can't remember who it was, but somebody else was playing about the same time. That's what sucks about Warped Tour because you didn't get
Yeah.
to know ahead of time. So I didn't get to stay and hear his whole set. But this album is definitely one of my absolute favorite albums. And I think we talked about Save Today in the episode before. I can't
We
remember.
did. Yeah. I don't
Um,
remember, but we did.
I don't remember either, but this album is just it's one of those albums that I could listen to and not skip anything. So I would highly recommend people going to see that, but also like if you don't know who Saves the Day is, like you need to check them out.
Yep.
Because again, this is another one of those bands where it's like if you're trying to truly get into the nostalgia factor and that like this set this certain time era when it comes to like the emo based bands and everything, Save the Day was another one of those quintessentials that you would have to know. And if you don't know, then like you should know that Chris and Max Bemis had a band called Two Tongue
Oh, so
together,
good. I loved that
and it
band.
was super good. And like, I would want to think somehow they would play a couple songs
Oh
because
my
they're going to be
god.
there together. But
That
like,
happened to me one tour they did together. I forget what it
yeah.
was, and they did a couple Two Tongue songs, and it was so amazing.
And it's just like one of those things is that those two bands are like a couple bands that always went hand in hand in that time. So it's
Mhm.
like you need to know. You need to know who Saves the Day is. You need to listen to it. If you don't know them, you need to check them out because like they were such a big deal and I loved them. And like I always still say like when it came to that time era, I was not truly an emo kid. I did not identify as an emo kid. I liked emo bands, but I wasn't like the idea of what you think of as emo kid. But Saves the Day was that one kind of emo band that I was like fully embracing. So I definitely think if you don't know who they are, you need to check them out.
No, I agree. Like, and shockingly enough, when I was looking at this list, like Stay Where You Are is not my favorite Saves the Day record. And he's always like, oh, Lisa, you're trying to be different. But I mean, I love it, but like, I just think some down the road, uh, for me, I agree with you that like Saves the Day is one of those ones that even if you don't like them or for whatever reason, they literally are one of those bands that is so important to the scene. And
Mhm.
chances are your favorite band today was inspired by them.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think that, I mean, even when you look at Fall Out Boy, they've talked about it, and like Fall Out Boy and them couldn't be further on the spectrum of that. So no, I think I would too. I have a heart for them. I didn't have them on my list, but like if they were around, I would definitely go to get like the feels. And even though I'm Stay What You Are isn't my favorite, it has some sentimental value with G and I when we first met, so I gotta give it up to that, I guess. But, because he's a big Save the Day fan, but
Oh.
we don't agree on many bands, but that's one. So I'll take it. But for me too, and I gotta go with this one, and it just is my love of Burt McCracken. I gotta see The Used. I've seen In Love and Death, I've seen this record performed already all the way through, but I'm just going, I think, just to make my teenage self happy and experience it all over again because I think one thing special about The Used is that they've never stopped, they've never taken a break, they've
Mhm.
kept going, they sound better than ever if that's
Yeah.
possible. And I think they are just one of those sets that it would be amazing. Like whether and I need to hear, no matter what I hear, where I'm at, I need to hear the opening and that song, I'm a Fake. I need to hear that monologue, like small, simple, safe price. Anyways, guys, I'm not going to go into it, but you know what I'm talking about. I need to hear that. I need to hear that one. I need to see The Used because Burt McCracken was my teenage crush and he's still my crush now. So I got to see him. And that's my thing, go see The Used, they're amazing.
I I'm just saying he is a fine wine. I
Oh
personally
my
think he's
god,
gotten more
yeah.
attractive with age.
Yes!
I'm sorry,
Oh
y'all.
my
But
god,
also
yes.
just, as a sound even because, I think he's the most healthiest he's ever been as well. So,
Yes, same.
I also put them on my list, of course,
Yes.
because, same as you, I was around when that album came out, so I'm pretty sure I saw it when it was, initially released
Mhm.
live because 'cause I've seen them quite a few times. They're wonderful live. They're still wonderful live because I even got to see them back in, ooh, I don't know, 2019, whatever that weird festival thing that I saw was that
Yeah.
they helped headline with. They're still amazing live, like you said, I think maybe even better than what
Yeah.
they did. 'Cause I would think it's because that Bert's probably at his healthiest point.
Same.
But it's a great album, it's wonderful, it's another one of those where it's for nostalgia factor, it's a top one you should probably see.
Mhm.
But yeah, it would be a great one, but also I would hope and pray that him and Gerard would sing
Yes.
Under Pressure.
Oh my gosh, yes! I think on the Emo Social Club, I think they were talking about that when they did the review for this one, and that maybe we would get that, so maybe
I
we will.
would
Maybe enough
hope.
of us throw it out there,
But
they'll listen.
again, I would need to be there. I'm sorry, I need to
Mhm.
be there if that
I
happened.
know, especially because I know and I don't know personal shit, but I know there was some things behind the
Yeah.
scenes for them and their friendship, and from what I'm
It seems like maybe they
yeah,
probably hashed it out.
I don't
Maybe they're not,
know.
besties, but I don't think that it's as, you know, bad as what it was. I don't know. It seems like they're at least civil.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
I would like to see that happen. It's just one song. Gerard
I
and
know.
Bert, come on, it's one song.
Come on, guys, let's do it, and I guess, I don't know, kinda keeping with the theme of the used, I gotta go A Day to Remember, Homesick. I think I had to put this record on because I know, again, they're going on this massive tour with the story so far, but again, it's not near me, and it's in a big stadium, so again, if I'm just going to this, I'm seeing this. If I'm able to, I'll go see him on this tour because I love all those bands, but, like, for me, it just is I don't know, it's something about this that it's they're just such a special band to the scene and still are, and I think so many of our guests that we've had on here have talked about this band being a big inspiration, and I think that says it all about how important they are to so many, and I think you have this whole new generation that is also discovering them too, which is really cool. And I just think about they dabble in so many different genres, and this band kinda did it first. Like, you think about back in the day, it was, like, a lot of pop punk during the time they came up at or hardcore. But then you had them that were kind of like that mix, right? And it just I don't know. If I obviously my tracks, The Downfall of Us All, NJ Legion Ice T, Have Faith in Me, I'm Made of Wax, Larry, just the whole fucking thing. But, like, for me when you hear that, like, da 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 da, like, "Let's go." Anyways, that's I'm awful, but anyways, it's gonna go nuts. It's gonna go fucking nuts, and I've joked to G, like, if ever we got married, like, down the road, 'Cause who knows at this point, guys. I know every listener cares about that, but, like, I had said, like, our opening maybe coming out would be something cool like that. Like, it just hits, and I would love to see them. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and yeah, that's how I feel about Day to Remember. I don't think I'm alone in that. I think a lot of people would go see them, but maybe not. Maybe they think they're
I
posers. I've heard
wasn't
that.
that wasn't that the band that somebody unfollowed you from on social media? Is that who you posted the reel about? And then somebody was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't follow you anymore," and they unfollowed. Was it A Day to Remember? I can't remember. Do you know what I'm
Oh, no,
talking
no, it
about?
was Every Time I Die. Yeah,
Oh, I thought it was A Day to Remember, and I was
yeah.
like, it just made me
So
think about that. I was
So
just like,
if
"Is that
nobody
who that was?"
knows, I posted these reels, I started doing them, and I've been a little lazy, I'm not gonna lie. But I started doing these reels, like, bands that have shaped me, blah, 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 to try and, make connections with people. And, yeah, somebody flat out unfollowed us because I put Every Time I Die. I mean, I've never had that happen, and I didn't know they really did, and then I checked it out, so then not Every
I'm
Time I
sorry.
Die fan, but
It just made me think of that. I was
I was like, "Oh god, no,
I'm
don't
like,
tell
that
me
guy
this."
might not be happy, but I mix up the bands,
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah.
but but, I
I feel
gotta
like
know.
that's gonna happen all the time with us. We always have
Oh,
one guy is just like, "How dare you?" And then get mad
yeah,
at us
yeah, like, come on,
for being a
dude, get out of
poser
here.
podcast, but
Listen, listen, I've been showing G how I used to two-step, like, literally, come on, guys, I can roll with you,
oh my
which will
gosh.
never see the light of day, but anyways, Justine, I gotta know, do you have any more records?
Oh, of course.
Awesome.
So, I, of course, would have to go see Motion City Soundtrack because Commit This to
Yes.
Memory is one of my absolute go-to comfort albums to this day
Mhm.
still. I can still put that on and just oh, it helps me and I can still relate to it to this day as an adult. If not, I probably relate to it more honestly today than when I was
Mhm.
younger. I heard they're great live and like I know that if I would get to go see them for this album, I would be stimming in the crowd because I'd be so full of
Mhm.
joy and happiness. This album means so much to me. I love that album. And if you don't know them or you haven't really listened to them much, this would be the one album I would suggest because it is another one of those albums where like every one of them is fantastic. There's one song where Mark Hoppus joins in on it.
Yes.
It's it's just so good. It like you're gonna be in your feels, but it's happy. I like like that's one reason why it's one of my comfort albums because it's like if I'm upset, I'll put that on because it's like I'm gonna feel my feelings, but it's gonna sound happy.
No,
But
I felt
it's
oh.
so good. Oh, I love that album so much.
No, and I knew I was like, "This Justine's definitely gonna pick this one," and
Yeah.
I think too, and I agree with you, like, even now, I relate to it more on another level than I even did, and I loved it back then, and they're just all wonderful people that I think make me love Motion City even more because
Yeah.
one time they shared a grilled cheese with us, like, back in the day, and they're just, like, really nice guys, but I think, like, it's just they're another band that is so good live that for me, I wouldn't miss them. It's gonna be a good time, and they're so great, and I love them so much. So I would go see them too. Like, I don't even have them on my list, but I know, like, this list would be
Yeah.
like, whatever. Yeah, I'm just there, like, "Oh my god, I have to go." But for me, I guess my last record I'm gonna do is The Starting Line. I have to do Say It Like You Mean It. I just posted a reel about how much I love Starting Line, and nobody really cared, but it's okay. I love The Starting Line. I think they're amazing, and I think this is such a important record to me back then, and I just think that I don't know when we'd get another chance to see this, like, out of all of them, like, I really don't know unless they do, like, a holiday show in a Philly, something like that, like, they don't really do this, they're not really a touring full band anymore. I mean, they do shows, they do, like, festivals, right? But, like, they don't really do it, to the extent that some bands so I think this might be my shot, and I would have to take it. I would be front row singing every single word like I was a teen discovering Best of Me all over again with the jukebox and Kenny Basoli and loving Kenny Basoli. And the reason, like, when I love The Starting Line, I loved Real Friends because back then Dan's vocals, they have a different vocalist now, but, like, his vocals reminded me of Kenny Basoli. I love The Starting Line. I think they're fantastic. I mean, again, tracks Cheek to Cheek, Leaving, Best of Me, Hello Houston, Left Coast Envy, The Drama Summer, you name it. This band just means so much to me. I am not missing this one. And yeah, you gotta check out the
Yeah.
starting line. They're just so, so good.
I never got into them, but
Mhm.
this is one of those bands that if back in the day, you're around for the initial emo surge, like,
Yeah.
even if you didn't like them, you knew who they were because everybody in that scene loved them,
Yes.
and it's so funny to me how much now with Resurgence that nobody's talked about them
Mhm. I
or,
know.
like, discussed them because, like I said, like, I never got into them, but everybody I knew in the emo scene
Yeah.
liked them,
Yeah.
and it's weird that they're not discussed more.
I know.
Like
That's I gotta give him love, and I was shocked
yeah.
because on TikTok, I did one reel or whatever they're called, TikToks, reels, whatever. I did one and, like, some people were really into it, but then some people were just like, but then I find, like, people I know personally, there's only a few, like, I remember when we had
Mm,
Drew on from the Warped Band, and he
yeah.
big Starting Line fan, but other than him, like, nobody's really talked about them like you said, so I'm like, "What the
Yeah.
hell? This band
It's
is
so
so good."
strange because it's just
Go
like,
check them out. They're so
you
amazing.
know,
I can't wait.
because I personally wasn't into them, but, like, I know they were huge though back
Yeah,
in the day,
they're
so that's why it's like,
huge.
it's so weird that you don't really hear anybody wanting to talk about them much, but, like, back in the day, you would hear about them all the time.
Listen, guys, you know what
You
this
know?
means. The starting line. If you're listening to this, we would love to talk to you. I'm letting you know right now. I'd love to give you a platform. But Justine, do you have any more that we missed that I'm like,
I have one last one,
awesome?
which I have not gotten to see them live yet, would be Ellis Dunes. Like,
Oh,
I
that's
haven't
right.
yeah, they're supposed to be there. I haven't gotten to see them live. I would love to
Mhm.
be able to catch them.
Yeah.
I know that if they were around during Warp Tour times, like, people would have latched onto them as much as they do now
Yes.
back
Yeah.
then, and so I think it's only right that they're there. I
The
think it makes total sense that they'd be there, so
the only thing, and there's been some, I don't know, like not backlash, where some people are like, oh, why are they there? Like, it's called When We Were Young, but my thing is, if you look at these bands, let's see, there's Coheed,
Mhm.
there's Thursday, there's,
Yeah. I was gonna say, look
Circa,
at
there's
who's a part of the
Seosin,
band.
there's My Chem, right, and it makes sense, I will say the only
It makes
thing,
total sense.
and it's not a negative on Ellis Dunes, but it's just as people I know that have seen them at a festival, it's not on Ellis Dunes, they're incredible, but sometimes the sounds at festivals, I feel like this is a band personally, and this is just my hot take because I've seen them live in a venue, I was very lucky,
Yeah.
and holy shit, seeing them in a venue, you got because I had people
Oh,
that
I'm
saw
sure,
them at a
yeah.
festival and a venue, but I agree with you, if this was your only chance to see them and this is where you were gonna see them, Alice Dunes is so fantastic, and that's not just us kissing anyone's ass. Legitimately, this band is so good live
I
because you have all
honestly
those
feel though
components.
I feel like in general though, if you have a chance to see any band live, they're always gonna be better in a venue. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
think I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. Like, hearing a band in a festival setting is completely different than hearing them in a venue setting.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
so I constantly tell people, like, if you've seen a band only at a festival, then you haven't really heard them live. You need
because
to see them in a venue setting.
yeah, because the thing is too, I had someone with me when I saw them in the venue, and they liked them at Riot Fest. They saw them at Riot Fest. They loved them. But after seeing them, they were like, it was better. And I was like, well, because you gotta think like fests,
Yeah.
you gotta pray the sound guy there. Like there's all these different things and components and
Yeah.
stuff. But I'm telling you, yes, absolutely, Ellis Tunes, because they're so good. And I can't wait to see what they do next. But this is so good. And I guess while we wish we could go to this festival, I mean, who knows? We don't know. We may get
Somebody
there.
please help us.
Somebody please help us out, figure out what to
Please
do.
help us.
Because also, like, I would love to have a conversation with artists of how they feel before
Like,
and
in
then maybe
person too,
after. Yeah,
yeah.
like, before and
And
after
for us
their
to be
set.
together at
I know,
shows and in
that too.
person, so
That would be cool, and like, just to get the feeling because when we talk about artists and mental health, I can only imagine, like, us as a listener, what it feels like for them, like, how are they after that
Yeah.
release. So I would love to have that conversation, but we can't do that if we can't get there. So,
Yeah, because it would be
um,
so cool to see them before, talk to them before, and then talk to them after they played. I
yes.
think that would be such a really cool
Mhm.
concept to do,
Yeah.
and to have that happen,
Well, I've applied
somebody needs
us.
to help us get there.
Listen, I've applied for this. I've done everything we can at this point, but
Yeah.
the problem is, and everyone knows, you gotta you gotta apply to the fest, but you gotta show you've done it. But the fest won't let you do it, so you can't show that you've done it. So, anyways, somebody just said, "Hey, stereotherapy's awesome, and you'd love to see us there." But this was just also really fun to kind of break up the guests a little bit and to get to chit chat, with each other about music and albums we love. And again, we're putting out 2 episodes because we don't want these episodes to get outdated, and I really want to push you through to the guests so you can check them out. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. I mean, like us connect with us, let us know who you would see. Again, there were so many on this list, but this would have been so much longer. But I just think that these were the few where I'm like, yes, I would do this. But yeah, this was like so great to talk about. And I guess for Justine and I, you will see us actually, if you're listening to this Tuesday, you'll see us Thursday. If not, you'll see us next Tuesday. Because like I said, we gotta get 2 out. I don't know how we're gonna do it. We're gonna figure it out. But you guys keep listening to good music, and we'll see you guys soon. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.